plan for the next day was to have a big cookout.
We went to the cookout at the Stone Cup, which was a pretty interesting scene. It really kind of encapsulated kind of the vibe of Lyons.
Every restaurant and market and house in town had no power and had all this amazing food. And so to come down the next day on Saturday in the middle of this national disaster with National Guard and
these huge trucks bringing cartloads of people out from Apple Valley and up in the mountains, and
Red Cross and the hazmat team and the task force and whatever, all these agencies like walking around town in their Terminator suits and helicopters flying over, and
we've got all these grills set up and there's ice cream, and
we're basically having a party in the parking lot of Stone Cup.
You know, we've got live music and we're with one another and we're eating together and we're making the best of a really, really traumatic situation.
All the restaurants took out their inventory and everybody gathered around Stone Cup and they made a big barbecue and they just cooked everything off, and it was probably for a couple of days that lasted really, but it was incredible because again, we're still all isolated. And at this point, helicopters are going over. People know that we're isolated. People know that we're in this flood, but they can't get to us. So because we're blocked off, all the roads were washed out.
It's like in the middle of all this, we're still celebrating, you know, our community. And it was just an ironically beautiful moment. Just the thought of like another night at the house in the middle of nowhere, especially after being in town and being around people, it seemed like a better idea just to go into town and stay at somebody else's house. So
the first night we ended up leaving the Stone Cup and going up to Lauren's house, and they had a camp of about 20, 30 people up at their place. It was a lot of again, this sort of shock and the like stay busy, and it wasn't like anyone was avoiding what was happening, but at the same time, as soon as you start to think about what is happening or what's going to happen, it just was almost debilitating to just really think about it. So it really forced us all into the moment.
There was starting to be talk about Button Rock Dam breaking.
There was a huge fear that the dam would burst. If that happened, it would have been, I guess, a 45-foot wall of water would have come barreling down through the canyon and basically just kind of washed out the town.
Which I don't doubt that if it broke, there would be a tidal wave, but I just couldn't believe, like I've seen that dam, I've been there a million times, and I just couldn't believe that there was any way, regardless of how much water there was, that like how is it going to actually break? And so, you know, probably 10 or 11 o'clock Saturday night, from up at our friend's property, you can see all of town. You can look down on the main street, and there's this line. I mean, like, probably more than 100 cars just filing out of town. You could see them filing from all over, like, every little neighborhood that still had people. For the most part, everyone was leaving. We called down to a friend who was on shift at the fire department, and not only were, like, residents leaving, we looked down and we saw the National Guard pulled every man they had and left town.
FEMA, National Guard, everybody that was there basically told our firefighters, we're out of here. You guys are on your own. If you're still here tomorrow, we'll come help you, but we got to go. We're not sticking around for this.
So, you know, that was like our sense of safety. And then every single one of them leaves. We call down, and the only people left in town are our 6 volunteer firefighters or so and 3 or 4 sheriffs, and that's it.
We had like 6 or 7 firemen who took every piece of equipment that we had and moved it to higher ground, moved all of our operations, and basically said we're not running away. You know, we're not leaving. We're needed here. This is what we do. This is why we're doing it.